Hey everybody, how are you today? It's Tuesday, our magical Tuesday. It's the night we get to watch Skinwalker Ranch, Beyond Skinwalker. It's a day I look forward to. Now, we've been talking about remote viewing, we've been talking about hidden alien bases, but then I had some people ask me to make a video talking about things that I knew from the Army. And we can go over some of the things that I know and trying to figure out where we could start. It'd probably be best that I start to tell you some stories about what happened in the Army and what transpired from the events that I'm going to tell you about. Now, I went to basic training in Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. They used to call it Fort Lost in the Woods. And from there, I went over to Fort Huachuca, Arizona for my intelligence training. And we had some pretty interesting instructors. One, his name was Mr. Fialo, which used to be Staff Sergeant Fialo until he retired out, and then he became an instructor at the school. So once that happened, you get a few civilians in there, along with your enlisted personnel and your officers that train you in the intelligence field in the military. Mr. Fialo and I got pretty tight. I was there, God, it's a 16-week school, but I was there for 20 because they had a difficult time sending me to a location where, at the time I was married to my wife, had fibromyalgia and lupus, and all the docs were all deployed. So there was not really a lot of options. They tried to send me to Fort Lewis in Washington. They tried to send me to Fort Hood in Texas. That didn't work out. Then they tried to send me to Fort Campbell, Kentucky, which I did go there. I spent, I don't know, maybe a couple months there. I was attached to the 5th Group Special Forces, then the Rakasans, and, then they realized, hey, his wife needs medical care, so he has to go. So I wasn't allowed to stay in Fort Campbell, Kentucky, so it was like a frustrating thing. Where do we put him? Where does he go? They finally came to me and said, hey, where do you want to go? And I remember driving around in Clarksville, Tennessee. I had kids in the Suburban. I think I had just gone down to the Chinese restaurant to pick up some food. And I'm coming back to the base, and the phone rings, and they ask me, where do you want to go? We're having a hard time, finding a dock. Where would you like to go? I said, well, I would love to go to Hawaii. And I remember the conversation was, you finish the top of your class, you get to pick. That's what they told us. You get to pick your duty assignment, and I finished top of my damn class. And I didn't get to pick, and that's all bullshit. So in the Army, you get to pick. Every day you're going into school, and you pick your top 4, your top 5, whatever the hell it was at the time, places you wanted to go. Nobody in my entire goddamn platoon got any duty station they wanted. Everybody got wherever they needed to fill the hole, they put them. So you guys know I love coffee. Sorry, it's so good. Anyway, to you coffee drinkers. Anyway, so really nobody got what they wanted, right? So when I did get that call, and I told the lady on the phone, I said, listen, they told us we were allowed to get our pick if we finished top of our class. And she laughed, and she said, yeah, they tell everybody that. And she goes, it really doesn't happen. But she goes, guess what, today you get to pick where you want to go, so you're going to get your choice. I said, I want to go to Hawaii. And she paused a moment. She goes, okay, Tripler, Army Medical. She goes, I have doctors that can take care of your wife. She goes, I'm sending you to Hawaii. So get ready to pack your bags. We are going to have tickets for you. How would you like to handle the transportation of your vehicle? I said, well, I'll tell you what. I was so excited. I couldn't wait to get the hell out of Fort Campbell, just sitting in a hotel room for months. And I said, I'll drive to Los Angeles, and I'll go to Long Beach, and we'll, take the vehicle there instead of the Army shipping the vehicle from Kentucky, Tennessee border to Hawaii. I figured, save them some money. We can jump on a flight from Los Angeles. I have cousins in LA. I said, I want them to drive us to the airport. And so we did that, and drove all the way up to Long Beach, took the vehicle to the Long Beach docking station. And then my cousin Lisa picked us up and drove us back to the hotel in Inglewood. And from there, she gave us a ride to LAX, and we flew out to Hawaii. And I was excited. I mean, I was glad to get there. But digressing, Mr. Fialo at the school, he and I got pretty close, you know. And like I said, I was at the top of my class there, so I didn't have a hard time with it at all. And I had gone in older than most people. I left a very lucrative job to join the military because I wanted to make a difference. So I didn't. I turned down commission. I have degrees. I could have had a commission. I turned it down. Something told me to do what I did, so I did it. And I can't explain that to you. I was born with these abilities to hear things and know things, and I was very frustrated. And I said, "What do you want me to do? Tell me where you want me to go." And I was in Lapeer, and a voice told me, turn left here, and I did. And I don't care if this sounds nuts to you, because it's not. Turn left here. So I turned, and it said, turn left here. So I turned again, and it just said, get out of your car and walk to your left. So I got out of my car, and it was a recruiting station. So I just walked right in, and I joined the Army. And I went and took their test, and I passed so high, like any job that you want. You qualify for every job in the military. So I picked military intelligence because I like to think and I like to solve things. So anyway, so that's how I ended up in intelligence. And before that, I was working for Lexus. I was making 12 grand a month, 10, 12 grand a month take home at Meade Lexus. So I walked away from a lot of money, right? You go where you need to go. My dad didn't serve. My grandfather served. And so you go where you're needed. Obviously, I was needed to be in the military, so I did it. So anyway, I'm in Fort Huachuca, and Mr. Fialo and we had this conversation outside, and I remember we could smoke. When you go to AIT, you can smoke again. Like in basic, you couldn't. So I picked up cigarettes again, which was probably a dumb idea because running in the military is a never-ending goddamn thing every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You have a 2-mile run test in the Army. 2 mile. And we would run 6 to 8 miles. And they wonder why everybody called sick or got sick on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And half the people get out of the military have no knees or shins or nothing left. They need to cut that crap out, because this is day and age, no one's running from nobody. You're standing your ground, you're firing. And anyway, so Fialo and I are talking outside, and he told me how he had his duty station was White Sands, New Mexico. And I always thought, White Sands was a missile base. So we were talking about that, and he said, you know what, Abbott? Because they don't call you by your first name in the military. It's Abbott. So he said, you know what, Abbott? I want to tell you something, because I think you can handle what I'm about to tell you. You're older, and I think you can handle this. I said, that sounds great. Okay, tell me what's going on, right? I'm thinking he's going to talk about some female thing. And he said, there's a mountain at White Sands. It's a really big mountain. He said, and at the top of the mountain, things like to shoot out of it. I said, what are you talking about, man? He's like, well, if you get out there at the right time at like 4:35 in the morning, things will shoot out of the mountain. Oh, wait a minute. What are we talking about here? It's like, he goes, you're from Detroit, right? I go, yeah, I'm proudly from Detroit, yeah. He's like, well, let's talk vehicles. He goes, you have American cars, right? So domestic, and then we have foreign cars, right? I said, yeah, everybody knows that. And he said, well, other than I know you probably buy only American cars, let's just give the dubious name to the things that come out of the top of the mountain as foreign and domestic. We'll refer to them as vehicles. Okay, so we're having a crypto conversation is what we're having. Okay, so I said, all right, talk to me then. He's like, so at 4:35 in the morning, you'll see foreign vehicles coming out of the top of the mountain. Not dense. Okay? He goes, and right after that, domestic vehicles follow. Hey, wait a minute, what are you talking about? He's like, well, we've learned how to create a foreign vehicle, or we have either created it or we have commandeered a foreign vehicle and claimed it as our own. He wasn't sure, but he knew that there were pilots that were American in the military that flew craft out of the top of the mountain. And I thought he was bullshitting me, right? A couple weeks go by, and I I blew him off. I'm like, yeah, Mr. Fiala's full of shit. He pulls me aside again, and he said, have you given any thought to what we talked about? I said, other than you're full of shit, yeah, I mean, that's about it. He said, listen, he goes, I'm not full of shit. And he goes, I'm gonna prove it to you. Okay, you gotta prove it to me. How? He goes, well, I forgot the other instructor's name. It was another civilian guy. He was like the main guy. He's like, we were stationed there together. I'm gonna bring him out here. Cold. You just talk to him and find out what he knows. He came out. You get like, it was like a 30-minute break, and we're just like, I'm smoking, and they're outside, and it's like the school's here, and then there's like a runoff from the school rocks, and you got to be careful with the snakes. But you go down and you get away from the back door of the school, and you smoke, and we're talking, and I asked him, I can't remember his name, but I asked him, I said, did you work at White Sands? He goes, yeah, that was my duty station. I said, well, Mr. Fialo here was telling me that foreign and domestic vehicles shoot out of the top. He goes, they do. He goes, I was going to tell you right now. He goes, you're in the right field. You're going to find out all kinds of information, especially being as good at this as you are. I said, okay, yeah, I'm just listening, He's like, they really do. He goes, it's like a blackout type event where things, boom, boom, they'll shoot out, boom, 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 like that. He goes, and sometimes the lights will go down in the base. And I don't even know what to make of what they're saying, to be honest with you. Because sometimes you think that, maybe some people are putting you on, and I don't like getting played. So, I listen, and okay, we left it at that. We'll leave it at that. And I didn't have to elaborate much more. I thought, okay, these guys are having a little fun. So I end up, after all the bullshit and leaving there and couldn't have a place, I end up in Hawaii. And in Hawaii, they openly spoke about UFOs. And I was caught off guard because I had come from an intelligence training where they were openly speaking about UFOs without even me asking. I mean, they're just talking, right? So now they're talking about it in Hawaii. They're talking about communication signals, basically, that we listen to under the ground in the Kunia Tunnel. So I'm at Schofield. I was supposed to end up at Fort Shafter, but the command sergeant major, after meeting us when we got to Hawaii, there was like a group of us that all came in, told me that I reminded him of himself and I wasn't going anywhere. He rescinded my orders that I was going to stay at headquarters and I was going to work at S3, which, is probably the best place to probably want to be if you're in intelligence, right? It's a secret skiff room and, that's the place, right? So that's what I got. Cool. I didn't even realize how cool it was till I got in there. But so I'm there, and then the guys just talk. You get conversations outside, and you kind of blow them off a little bit. But now you start putting Fort Huachuca conversations in with these conversations, and I'm starting to realize these people ain't bullshit, man. There's something's going on here. And I remember I went back into work one day. And there was a captain. He's a big kid, man, big young guy. And he came in. He goes, "I want everybody to pay attention, please. I'm going to show you something. Nobody say anything until it's over, but I'm going to show you something." And he put up a video of an alien moving, bending its arms, turning its head, closing its eyes, blinking, in a suit, giant ass head. Human features almost, tiny little features, but the head, so we're looking at my head, right? My face, this is probably right proportional. His lips were a little smaller, nose is tiny, a little bit tiny, but the cranium went back, right? Probably like that. So that's about as big as the head was. It would have been engulfing, kind of like stuck out like bulbous in the back. You know what? I'm going to show you something. And this is what I painted, what I saw. So that is what it looked like. I don't know if you can see that, but that's exactly what we saw. So that's what he showed us on the video. Not only was that on the video, but, oh, sorry, guys, I put this thing in the wrong way. Not only was that on the video, but there was a craft on the video, a UFO. And what it was like aerial footage following this craft. And it was black and white, but it had the government logos going all over the goddamn place. And there was this. It was amazing. It was a disc that people talk about disc, right? Flying saucer. So it's going over a neighborhood basically. There's a house. There's a mountain in the background, and it's kind of a countryside. But they're following it down a road, and you could see the road in the video, and this craft is just going right next to them. You could see the holes, like portals in the top, and it's just like moving like this, right? It's like doing all this, but it's going straight, and they're flying next to it. You can tell that it's moving a little like almost gyroscopic. And I asked a question when it was done about the movement. We'll get into that. But after they showed him, they showed the craft, the reels. You could see it was old projector type film that he had on the screen, and it was a copy of what he had. And he looked at us and he said, "This is our next big secret." And so I think everybody in the room was expecting something, but I just got there. I hadn't been there maybe a month, and so I really wasn't even briefed into what the fuck was going on. So after that, everybody was like, okay. It's our next big secret. And I started doing some research, right? Because we have files on shit. And I have a top secret SCI, secret compartmentalized information, right? So I'm allowed to look at a lot of things most people can't. I work with the counter intel guys, and they're the ones that are telling me how they come up with this crap to cover it up, and how the stories and the things they feed the public to make them think that they're seeing things when it's completely outlandish to what they really saw. They want them to look like buffoons when they report something. So we covered up all the reports, and then the FOIA requests would come in. Oh, we lost it. We don't know where it is. Tell them we looked and it disappeared. It's everybody's FOIA request. It was like, even if it was just about the war, they're not giving crap that they don't have to. If it's pertinent information, sorry you guys, I get itchy back. Pertinent information, the FOIA request is going to be like, can't find it, sorry, must have been destroyed, can't find it. So we covered a lot of crap up in the war as well. But back to that. So we find a video. The video's all explained. I asked a question, why was that craft doing like that? And he explained to us that there was a gravity, not anti-gravity, because people talk stupid and say that. He said it's not anti-gravity, it's its own gravity. So it's like the reverse of a planet. So the gravity sucks us down. They put a reverse bubble around the craft from the propulsion system. And that's why there's something sticking out of the top of the craft on some of these. And you got emitters on the bottom, and they surround and they meet with that little pointy thing on top, because I'm like, it looks like a goddamn remote control with a little antenna. And he explained that helps create the field around the craft, and it's rounded so it can cover every direction. And that within the craft, it's silent. There's no sound, there's no movement. The craft can move in herky-jerky all the time, but it's constantly fighting the Earth's gravity. So it's like two magnets that are reverse polarized. So the craft does this, because the planet's not going to move, but the craft is fighting that gravity. The closer it gets to the Earth, the more it wobbles, he said, and it does this. And so basically it's like two magnetic fields fighting one another. Okay, that's amazing, because to me, I'm starting to realize he ain't bullshit, man. This guy's for real. And then he went on to explain how they cloak themselves, how that whatever the element they use for their propulsion and create the gravity field also can produce, I don't know if that does or something, but he said it produces like a mirror effect of anything behind the craft, above the craft, on every angle. So it's almost like a camera system that projects in the direction that a straight. So I would look at the craft, and if it went by a mountain, it would look like the mountain. I wouldn't see it because it's projecting what's behind it. If I was up at an angle, I'd see a different part of the mountain, and I would still see just the part of the mountain. If I'm under it, I'm going to see the clouds. So it has this ability to cloak itself. But the one thing that they said is the dead giveaway is the disturbance of the atmosphere. So when we don't want to call it that, when their gravitational field moves through the atmosphere, it splits the atmosphere wide open. So it creates a huge void, right? So we're talking like a vacuum effect. So it pushes itself this way by sucking itself this way. So the gravitational field will get directed to the front of the craft, and a lot of times you'll see craft do this, and they'll fly like this because the emitters are below. So if the emitter is emitting the gravitational field, so it's created a big void. So now the craft gets sucked into the void, and then when it does, the atmosphere that it was in goes back together, but it goes back together in swirling motions. It doesn't just collapse, it's a transitional swirl. So that's what you'll see, the atmospheric disturbance, and you can see it even when the craft is cloaked. So we have craft that can move silently. It can move at the speed of thought. Okay, so when I'm talking thought, whatever the device that these beings wear, and they put their hands on a control thing and they just sit there. So if I'm in the craft and a missile's coming, I think, oh shit, I gotta move. The craft moves with the thought of that pilot. So that's why they're able to do what they do. So it can dip and shoot straight up if I want to, I'm on Earth. This is from what I gather from working in this field. If I want to be on the moon, I just think let's up to the moon, and that craft is there. I mean, it just creates a void through space and time, and it gets sucked into that void, and everything behind it collapses back down. But remember, it's in a swirling fluid motion. Otherwise, it would collapse and cause a problem. I'm assuming. So the swirling, I'm not a physicist, but the swirling of the atmosphere behind it is probably a more peaceful way for things to go back to the way they were, right? Other than bam, clap, boom, sonic boom, all kinds of crazy shit or whatever it would cause. So that's how they operate these craft. They do wear a headgear, and they got their hand pieces they put on. I don't know if that's how every craft is operated. I know that when we're talking about the gray beings I showed you, that craft that we recovered is what we discovered how it operates, right? Now we have other places that have probably more craft other than like White Sands. Like I said, there's other bases besides Area 51. There's Dugway Proving Ground. Wright-Patterson underneath, that's a giant goddamn city. Fort Huachuca's a giant city underneath that intelligence base in Arizona. There's Edwards Air Force Base underneath. There are so many different locations, not just Cheyenne Mountain or whatever. You have got to start thinking outside of the box when you think about our military. Our military lies. Our military has covered up everything in the world to make sure that you and I do not get that information, because we might leak it to the enemy. And the enemy's over there desperately trying to get the same damn problem solved that we are. And like I told you before in other videos, whoever solves this problem, whoever figures this out, is the winner of the entire thing. So we have to remember, we are in a race, and it's not a Cold War. The only reason they call it a Cold War is to keep us all on guard, think we're going to bomb each other. Everybody is trying to solve the problem of these damn craft. And if we're working side by side with these beings, as everybody has indicated that we are, then we are either we're dumb, we're thinking they're going to give us what they're not, because they're not going to give the monkeys the key to the car, right? They might give us trinkets out of the car to play with, but there's no damn way they're letting us have the keys. We can't even control ourselves, and we bomb cities and with nuclear weapons, and we're savage beings. Sorry, we're not civilized. So I love my coffee. Anyway, so that is what's going on as far as what I learned, and that's part of my training, right? So I knew that they were under the Cunha Tunnel. They were listening to the conversations and communications. And yes, we do speak their languages, because we got our languages, or a form of our languages, from them. And they're different species. They came here, and basically what happened, they're not visiting, for one. Some might come and go, but this is a permanent base, or this is their planet. I don't know. I don't think we understand yet. We know that they've been here longer than we can even imagine. They're so dug in. And I'm talking miles under the ground. Now, how do you do that? The only way we could do it is if we have these nuclear tipped drills, right? That go in and they vitrify the soil as they move through. And it might just move this quick, and then it's steady. But as it goes through, it leaves a giant ring of glass, basically. that you can drive. If you took two semis side by side and then two more, two more, two more, two more, two more, that's how big the hole is. I shit you not. These tunnels are ginormous, and they're all done by this giant bit that goes through. It's a nuclear tip bit, and it melts everything. It slowly heats it and grinds up. Very little grinding going on, but everything just kind of melts and moves to the side, dude. I'm kid you not. So we can do that. We can make bases in no time. No one's down there, and there's no debris coming out of the ground because it's all getting melted. And it's like a lava tube from a volcano. You got that nice chute. Well, that's how you start these. And we have ways to find gigantic caverns in the earth below the surface, and all we do is dig for those. Now you got a huge area to build a city in, because some of these places are so big you can't even measure them, and they're deep. Well, the aliens do this. If we can do that, and I want you to think, if we can do stuff like that, these species that are coming here or that have been here are millions of years ahead of us. Millions. So if we can think of what we can do now, imagine if we had another, let's just say 500,000 years added to what we can do today. Where do you think we are? And supposedly we can survive AI. Supposing we survive AI. What did we look like in 500,000 years? What can we do? So now put yourself in that position today and look at us. What do we look like to you, being 500,000 years advanced than what we are today in 2024? We are never, ever going to fathom their abilities. We're never going to understand how simplistic their technology is to them. We're not ready. And, we're banging on the door. We all want to know. We all deserve to know. And I would rather know that people can admit the fact that everything that we learned is all a human conspiracy to keep us in the dark, to keep us happy. And the reality is we have no goddamn idea what we're about. We don't know where we're going. We don't know nothing yet, because we've been mushrooms in the dark, right? They got the dark room. We're the mushrooms. Don't turn on the light, because they don't want people to know what the hell's going on. So how do you get around that? Well, the government sure as shit can't come out and tell us what's going on. So the next best thing is to have like Skinwalker Ranch going on. They had Robert Bigelow there. He was there from 2016 on up, I think, or maybe no, he left in 2016. He was there for 10 years. And so Robert Bigelow won't tell anybody what he discovered at Skinwalker Ranch. And it was the biggest mystery going on. I remember ghost hunters would die to get in there thinking it was haunted. And it's not haunted. It's definitely extraterrestrial. And maybe we're fucking extraterrestrial now that you think about it. They've been here for, we don't even know how long. We know it's been longer than we can even imagine. So if they've been here that long, what if it's their planet? Now, I know that we speak their language, form of their languages. Throughout time, every species taught its own little tribe its language. So humans spoke a similar language. If you look at the text that was given to us in the Bible about Babylon, and we all spoke a similar language. We all could understand one another until God decided that wasn't going to happen. I forgot what reason. And we were plotting, conspiring, trying to get to heaven, building this big tower. And God didn't like it, so he split us up and gave us all different tongues. And now, 20, 30 years ago, you can look at that and go, okay, yeah, I can kind of see that. 50 years ago, you believe it. So what you believe 100 years ago, word is gospel. So now that we're here today, and we know what everything's going, on around us is kind of like freaky. And we got government kind of admitting, because they're afraid to say that, this is that, because we're going to go, wow, what the fuck? You've been lying to us all this time. I don't trust you, motherfuckers, right? Sorry, guys. I have PTSD and I had double head injury, so I don't mean to curse like that. It just comes out, and there's nothing I can do about it. I'm sorry. I don't mean to do it, but I'm a very intelligent man. I don't need to curse. But anyway, so we get onto this, and we don't know crap of crap. End of story. We don't know. They're lying. Are they lying? Do they even know? Is a secret government keeping everything? We know that's true. There's a government that we don't elect that never go away. That just die off and the next person takes its place. And they really run the show. So they're the ones that are really keeping this. But the government can't afford to say, hey, we've been lying to you, because, oh boy, that won't be good. That will be so bad. You thought people got pissed off in the past with rioting? Oh, this whole place will come unglued. Not just here, around the planet. People don't like to be lied to, especially when we're paying you. So I'm your boss. You're their boss. We're paying them to do a job for us because we're too busy with our life, our family, and our shit to go there and debate rules and regulations and laws. And we don't have time for that shit, so we hire hitmen, right? They're our hitmen, and they work for us. But basically, this is what they're doing to us the whole time. Taking our money, getting other money, getting lobbyist money, and hiding it and telling us we don't need to know. It's a need to know. Well, you work for us. If I'm the boss, I need to know every goddamn thing, right? You need to know everything too. We're paying their salary. They're giving our money to other countries and bullshit, but we have no say in crap. Do you not realize where I'm going with this? You didn't just bring the Nazis out of Nazi Germany and put them in Project Paperclip and everybody split them up. No, you also adopted a lot of their theories, a lot of their practices. The Nazi Party didn't die. It came to America to thrive. I'm telling you now. You can think I'm crazy all you want, but our government shifted and changed after World War II. We knew we had to get a hold of this technology. Admiral Byrd goes down to frickin' Antarctica for what? Because we found out of a Shangri-La down there, of a place that is not frozen. It's like habitable zone in there. And the Nazis discovered a species of people there, and they got a lot of their secret stuff from there. And we went down to find out if that was true, because the scientists told us, and we found out it was true. You can start doing your homework on that. And Admiral Byrd's expedition, you're going to get very minimal about it until you start really deep diving it. Then you're going to get, wow. He said we're facing a new enemy that can fly from pole to pole in a matter of seconds. Well, Admiral Byrd, tell us more, right? And then anybody can try to oh shit, Joe Biden's not frozen. Well, he just was listening to music. He just doesn't dance. No, he's frozen because his brain's stopping and the man has got dementia. But we can try to make it look a certain way because we want to keep control of the country, even though we got a guy in the office that doesn't even know what shoes wearing. But that's what they do with the other crap. They'll just cover it up. And they'll give us the biggest line of counter intel bullshit that we can eat and swallow because it tastes so good. Well, you need to realize they're full of crap and they're going to lie to you at every chance. Even if they make it sound like they're giving you information, it's something to throw you so far off track because you're too close. Anytime we get close in our knowledge, they throw us a bone that seems a little too good to be true, but we're going to take it because we're hungry for it, right? No. Start understanding intelligence. The way it runs is you don't need to know any damn thing. We need to know. So if the government needs to know it, you don't. That's how they look at you. You don't. Because China don't need to know. Russia don't need to know. India don't need to know. England don't need to. Australia, I don't care who your allies are. You are the one you worried about. So the U.S. is the one that wants the power. China wants the power. Russia, everybody wants the power. But whoever's got the most scientists and the best toys that they recovered is going to hold the power over everybody. And we must have some of the best stuff going on here because all the other countries are under us, even China. Nobody can come close to what we got. Yeah, there might be a billion Chinese who just shoot them. They used to give us the videos in the military that they would show shooting people coming over a hill and just keep shooting and run out of ammo and they just keep coming. And they tried to explain to us that's how many foot soldiers they have. And then they show one bomb. And there ain't no more foot soldiers. So we're not really worried about them. We have all this space technology. So they want to start shooting back. It ain't coming. I'm promising you that. I know for a fact. The Star Wars shit Reagan was talking about is real. It's so advanced, it's beyond. We can take missiles right out of the sky. We can shoot shit on the ground. And it looks like a goddamn laser beam coming down. And we have done it many times. So you'll see buildings, boom, engulfed in flame. They're just trying it out. And they usually do it in third world countries, or nobody's going to say nothing. So we're diving into a rabbit hole now. We're not going to be told the truth, but I'm going to tell you, when I see counterintelligence, I can point it out. So we got to be careful. You guys like to Dr. Stephen Greer. You need to be careful watching Dr. Stephen Greer. The man's getting wealthy for a reason, folks. He's not in it for the right reasons. And he's a doctor, ear, nose, and throat, whatever the hell he does. He's no UFO expert. And now he's coming up with the CE5 with the meditation shit. The only reason that he even came up with that is because we know they're telepathic beings, right? And how do telepathic beings communicate? With thought. So if you meditate, you're thinking. Telepathy. Greer ain't no special anybody. Greer happened to find himself in the right place at the right time, and his motives are questionable at best. So don't go listening to everything that guy's got to say. I'm just going to tell you now, the guy is a money-hungry guy making all these movies. He's not doing it to inform you. If he wanted to inform you, if he wanted the truth, if he knew what he was talking about, free. And there's no charge. Him and them two kids from Hawaii, the twin brothers, they got that Third Phase of Moon YouTube channel. Now they're filmmakers. Oh, the Cousins brothers. Everybody's in it for money. These two guys are clowns, couldn't get real jobs in Hawaii, so they made a YouTube channel, taking everybody's UFO videos and putting them on the internet and showing you, right? And what they did from there is decide to make a rock band. So then at the end of all their YouTube videos, they had the rock band that they had. It was terrible. And they wanted everybody to get into their rock and roll music, which is all singing about UFOs and crazy shit, and now that I think they got a lot of bad feedback, I monitor everything. It was an intelligence, I monitor everything. They got a lot of bad feedback. People don't want anything to do with that rock and roll bullshit they were putting on. And they're getting famous off other people's videos. And everything to them is a TR3B. I mean, they're ignorant. They think everything is, if it's a triangle in the sky, it's got to be a TR3B. No, it's not. Okay, our TR3Bs that we test flow, they don't even work right, so we don't even bother with them right now because they're in a state of flux. We're not flying them around, and we're definitely not putting them up in the air pretending they're UFOs over our own soil. We're not messing with our own government. We're not messing with our own military. That is something that we won't do. If we did have craft and we wanted to test fly the craft, we are going to probably go to like Mexico, or we're going to go somewhere else and test their military. We're not going to do this to our own military. So don't believe that we're doing this. All right. But you guys, we'll have another show, obviously. I'm going to try to do them as much as I can. But I want you to know, I know a lot more than what we talked about today. But today I figured that was a lot. It's a lot. You guys want to know what I want. You want to know what I know, and I'm going to give you what I know. So I know that everything's real. They're underground. They're under the water. They're in the moon. I told you that. They're in every solar body that we have in our solar system. They're on the moons of Jupiter. They're on the moons of Saturn. They're in the rings of Saturn. They have a giant platform over 3 miles long that just broadcasts and receives and sends. It receives and sends. So that is at the 1.6 gigahertz signal, which is an Earth to space platform. And that is a constant signal we can find and listen to. Deciphering it is different. You have to have special people that can do crypto, but the signals are decipherable, and you can see their communication signals by the way that they operate in two spires. So we have got to remember one thing: they have lied to us. They're not about to come out and admit they've lied to us. So watch Skinwalker Ranch and watch what's going to happen, because I already have the sinking feeling, and I don't want to say that, but it's the truth. I have a bad feeling, and they're going to expose what's been hidden for thousands of years that we're not supposed to know. And they've already basically done it. They found the wormhole there. They found that it's a traversable wormhole through the ground, and we already know the mesa's like an airport that goes into a base, that goes into a city, and we know all that. And it's a communications hub, and it's a platform. And if you look at that area, you got a mesa. They're not unoccupied mesas, man. They are. This is a giant network under our feet. Under it. Now you believe what you want to believe, but I'm telling you, as the guy that was inside, the shit I heard, the shit I found out, the stuff that happens, all the communications that go on, and I witnessed this firsthand, had firsthand conversations with people that are directly involved with interpreting languages from these beings, officers. I'm telling you guys, this is just the beginning of what's going to be the unspiraling of our life. Whatever we're comfortable with, the life that you're living, the familiarity of your world is going to change the minute this blows open. So if they blow this open too soon, it's going to be bad. They're prepping you. They're prepping everybody on the planet for what's coming, because they can't just drop such a bombshell. And all the other crap on the planet is meant to distract us so we don't keep pushing this issue. So they'll come up with economies, this shit, this prices, gas prices. Oh, we got fires in the hills, and we got a war going on here. Anything to distract us is all it's done for. So until next show, do your homework.